sir.
He's like, I got the power. Boom.
Welcome back, guys, to episode 24 of the Kinda Nice podcast. Today we have two guests. Well, kind of like a temporary co-host now at this point with young Nate Burkhalter. See what's up, Nate?
Hey, what's up? Man, that's number 3 for me.
He's back. He's back again.
I'm coming in to facilitate. I'm
Back
just
to
going to
back.
smile and wave as our other guest.
And
our
then we
official
have
guest.
a third guest, or first-time guest that you guys have been asking for because you want us to have a female ninja. So we got young Barclay Stockett in the house. Say what's up, Barclay.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, you're good.
I think it's kind of ridiculous. It's my first time on, though. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, you also live like an hour away,
Yeah.
and you don't come around this side of town anymore, really.
Yeah, I think that's about to change because I want to start training again. So
Oh,
There
are
we
you?
go.
You're gonna sell your house and buy a house over here now?
no. Well, it's
But hey,
too much work.
Let's bring the hype in on an exciting point of,
Yeah.
hey, this is
No, that's good.
Barclay
Yeah, yeah.
Stockett's first time on the Kinda Nice podcast.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice to have you here, Barclay.
Oh.
Let's
This
go.
guy's selling it. I love it. Barclay's been. I've known her since what, like 2015. You started training. 2014 It was a long time ago. So
Yeah.
feels like it's just been like a few years, but we've known each other for a long time. Same with Nate.
Yeah.
Barclay used to be a gymnast, and then she started doing ninja again in 2015. I remember the first time I met her, I think it was like me and Sam in the gym, and she was like trying to like figure out what shoes to use. Just like a small little like white girl. She was like, "Oh, like are these shoes any good? Like I don't know." I think she was at like Tigers or something like
I
that.
did. Wow.
And Sam was
On
like,
a
"Yeah,
suit.
because Sam was all about Tigers.
Yeah,
the
Yes.
Tiger
that's- I
shoes.
got my first pair because of Sam.
And I was like, "No, those are whack. You need Zante."
I feel like that was before Zantes were a thing.
It kind of was.
Was it?
Well,
Yeah, it was before they fully come out. Now you were the leading edge shoe guy, but we got pushed towards Zantes
yeah,
early.
I got pushed
I'm
towards
seeing-
Zantes
No.
by Jeff Britton
Yeah.
because he was
Oh,
using
yeah.
well, I think it was before the Zantes, but they were like a New Balance.
Yeah.
I actually still have them. I'll have to look at and see like what.
Yeah.
What
the New Balance or the Onitsuka Tigers.
Well, I had the Tigers first because
Yeah.
like kid was saying, like
Yeah,
Sam
Sam
pushed me
was
towards
all
it.
about
They
those
were my
Tigers.
first
I
shoes.
never had a pair of Tigers. Never.
They were so uncomfortable.
Were they?
So bad.
I
Were
had
they
2
good,
of them.
though?
I
Did they
loved them.
work? Did you?
They were great. The only negative side is they didn't have the grip of the Zantes.
Yeah.
But it was like low profile,
Yeah,
minimalist.
comfort-
They're comfortable. I got
Well,
one pair
she
that
said
looked
they
kind of
weren't
cool.
comfortable.
I wore them on most of my episodes at first because they were red. So like
Yeah.
it matched the red shirt I was wearing or something.
No, dude, I have there's a closet behind this wall actually. There's like 5 or 6 pairs of Zantes in there, like of unopened boxes.
Oh.
Unopened.
Yeah,
Wait
pretty
until
much.
I get to like
Dang.
$200 and you're going to start selling them off.
No, I'm just keeping them in case I need one in the chamber one day. Just pull them out
true.
fresh, be like,
That's
oh,
true.
new pair. Because you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
For most people listening, so Zantes or like the ninja shoes have been like a whole thing because like it's such a specific requirement for what you need. It's not, you can't try like a running shoe. But grip is like the number one thing, honestly, because most people don't use their feet like needing like grip. Like you need some grip when you're like road running, maybe to make turns, but not grip to where like your whole body weight is being supported by your feet. So the first shoes I actually used were Feiyu's, which is like a kung fu shoe. It was like the most uncomfortable thing ever. It's just literally like a rubber bottom piece and like cloth on the top. And if you do like any martial arts, you'll know what Feiyu's are, but you can look them up. Feiyu's sucked. And then after that, I moved on to Ariakis, which were the K-Swiss like parkour shoe. They had
Sounds cool.
They were really cool. That was the move for a little bit before like Zantes and Tigers came out.
Okay, you have to say that with the Japanese accent.
Ariakis?
Iriaki.
I don't think it's. I want to say it's German.
Don't say that.
I
It
don't
just
think
takes
it's,
away the effect. I like Iriaki. Okay, this German Iriaki. Yeah.
But so I'm a size 12, and I could only find like size like 10 or 9.5, and I wore those for like a year. Like my feet hurt so much. I'd like mess up my toes because I'd do parkour and like kick stuff, and yeah, it was a bad time. But I love the Ariakis. I think I still have a pair somewhere here. They're like ancient now. They're like super heavy, but those are my shoes in the past. I don't know how we got in this train of shoes, but yeah, that was a whole thing. I remember like, what was the ones James used to push, Rocky? You remember?
Oh, they're the strap.
Some
had
of
a-
them were like goat leather. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Scores?
it
Was it
was-
Scores?
What?
It was goat leather. I won it in a competition because James gave it away.
Yeah,
at an
yeah,
Iron
yeah.
Sports competition in like 2014,
Yeah.
2013.
They kind of
maybe.
looked like Feiyu's. They
Wow.
were Scores.
They were-
That might have been before Barclay.
That was before
Yeah,
me
I
for
think that was
sure.
before Barclay.
Because you came
Yeah.
in at 2015.
2015 is when I started training. The first time I was
Iron
ever
Sports,
like
okay.
walked into Iron Sports was 2014, but it was like just kind of a random
Because I'm trying to
occurrence.
remember as we're introing you, like when did we first meet? Because I met Sydney, your sister, probably 2014.
I think.
And I thought I met you before you started Ninja.
Yeah, at
because we were
church.
friends. That's what it was with like the 429 or
No,
something in Numble.
Hope City.
Hope City. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were already friends 2014 ish.
Yeah.
Before you started Ninja, and I had already been in it my first year.
Yeah.
And then we started training together at Iron Sports, and eventually we got on to Team Ninja Warrior together.
Yes, that was so much fun.
The co-host that I'm subbing in for right now, Daniel Gill, the second round of Iron Sports or Iron Grip.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Kid Daniel and
Tiana.
Tiana went to season 3 with you guys.
Yeah. Like that was actually a note I was going to talk about because
Oops.
that's like, no, you're good. You brought it up. That's smooth. But first, I wanted to ask Barclay. So you came from gymnastics. That was your background. But tell a little bit of your story from like, I guess, from gymnastics to Ninja, and then you can go a little bit to like what you're doing now. But just that first like initial transition of like finding Iron Sports or whatever gym, like what made you want to do it? Because I don't think I've even heard this story.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. So I was a gymnast, a high level competitive gymnast until I was like a senior in high school. And then I quit just because like I lost my passion for it. But I still like really miss being an athlete. And I like felt like my athletic life was like over. But I was just looking for ways to exercise in a fun way because I hate like the traditional gym life type of thing. So I tried like parkour. I found like a Groupon for like 4 parkour classes, and I was terrible because
Was Kid the teacher?
no, I think it would have been a lot more fun if Kid was the teacher. There was just too much running, to be honest.
What?
Like, yeah.
What were they doing?
So
not parkour.
it was like a downtown. It was like downtown Houston, and you'd like train in an area.
Was it urban movement?
Yeah.
Was that- yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then you'd run like a mile or so to like a different location.
Whoa.
And then do more stuff there. And like, I was like, I just want to play. Like, I don't want to feel like
Yeah.
I'm training. Like I want to like do something that's like really fun and you're not really noticing that you're
Yeah.
like working really hard. And so I was like, this isn't for me, but I'll try trapeze. Like I was looking for things that are like similar to gymnastics.
circus type stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because actually like whenever I joined gymnastics when I was like 12, I thought I was joining like circus training, which is like really similar to like Jesse Graff's story.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's a foundation for that.
yeah, when both of us started like training gymnastics, like we thought it was
Yeah.
circus stuff. So yeah, so then I was like, okay, well, this is like a lifelong dream to do trapeze, so I'm gonna try that. And it was really fun, but it wasn't super accessible because like the place I was going to is in Austin. And then eventually I like kind of like accidentally found my way into Iron Sports.
Yeah.
Because I was like taking care of some of my little cousins and they were like, let's go to a Ninja Warrior gym. And I was like, what is that? Like, because I think I'd seen like just clips of Ninja Warrior before.
Yeah.
Specifically like Casey Catanzaro. And so I was like, whoa, like this is cool. Like she and I are exactly the same size and we have a really similar background with gymnastics. I should give this a try. And when I got there, like I think I like made the salmon ladder on like the one in the back gym.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, the
yeah,
OG.
yeah. I like made it up that on my like second attempt. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, like I'm like kind of like a natural at this. Like I still had a lot of like residual strength from gymnastics,
Yeah.
even though it'd been years. Like, and just like body awareness and air awareness and stuff like that. And I just kind of played around and I was like, this is really dope, but I like live too far from this and this is unrealistic. And I just like, it didn't seem like something that I could actually like do as a sport.
Yeah.
I was also in college and just like busy and coaching.
Yeah.
You're still coaching gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was still coaching then. I started coaching when I was like 14 and I was like 20.
Young.
Yeah.
You coaching?
Yeah. Because I was like doing kind of like an apprenticeship type of thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I, it was almost like a year later, I went back to Iron Sports just like for my birthday with a friend. I wanted to just like go have fun. And it was the first time I ever tried like the warped wall. And I spent like an hour and a half standing in front of like the old OG like Iron Sports warped
Which
wall.
one?
Actually, not the OG one, where it is now.
Yeah, the original one was in the center of the
Yeah.
gym and it was pretty skinny.
Yeah, it was skinny and it
Yeah.
was
And there
way
wasn't even-
taller.
there wasn't even a ledge at first. Like He like added that later. It was just like
Yeah.
this little kind of like grab it.
Yeah, and there's all
break.
these lines, and it went way above 14 feet,
Yeah.
right?
It was
trying to
weird.
picture
I
it.
couldn't even do it because it was like the slant was really weird. Like he just kind of like
There was like
there
a-
was already a wall and he just added like a curve at the bottom.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really working.
And then like a 2x4 or 4x4
Yeah, pretty
was
much.
just like drilled on the top
it was
of
like grab this 2x4.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was weird.
I remember people doing that like in a harness. Like
Yeah,
people
that's
would
what it
wear a
was. You had to
But it
wear
was
harness.
one.
stupid because we'd like be pulling people up. Like
Mm.
one person would run one way and the other person would run the other way, and you would just yeet
I
that
remember
person
that.
up like super high.
Oh
It
my
was
Like this
God.
pulley system.
It was so dumb because like you weren't doing it properly. You were
Yeah.
just getting pulled up.
Yeah, so the first time I walked in, like, and I saw that, I was like, I'm not trying that. That looks like really dangerous.
Yeah.
But the second time, like a year later almost, I saw the wall and I like had watched Casey do it. Like I'd watch over and over because I like really, I love challenges. So I was like, I think I can do this. And so I stood there like at the
I was there
base
for
of the
that
wall.
day. I
You remember
believe.
that?
I'm pretty positive I was there. I remember
Yeah.
you just going at it and
Yeah.
at it and at it.
Over and over and over again for an hour and a half,
like,
and then
this
I like
chick doesn't
finally
give up.
made it. And I was just like, I'm very like, I like to analyze like movement. So like
Mm-hmm.
I had set up my phone and I was like watching myself do it, and I'd be like, okay, I fell that time because like my steps were too short, and just by kind of like self-coaching myself, and then other people would come over and be like, oh, like you need to lean back more, or like stuff like that. That helped tremendously, and eventually
Yeah.
I got it. And after I got it, like Sam walked up to me and he was like, you know, you're only like the second woman to ever like complete this warp wall. And I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Especially for your size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd like never like fully trained for it.
Yeah.
It was like
And
kind
you
of,
get it consistently too. You're like I almost like take it for granted. It goes like over my head. But most chicks your size like can't do it consistently like that.
Yeah.
Like, but she's like just very explosive. Like when she does it, it's just like bah, bah, bah,
Yeah.
bah, bah.
Well, the massively impressive part is when you consider size, so height of like someone's height versus the wall height. It's like Kid and I trying to go for the mega wall. And so when I'm attempting the mega wall, I'm getting that thing like 1 in 6 attempts. And that's after some serious training.
Wow.
And so height wise, I'm 6 foot, you're 5 foot. So the ratio of 5 foot to a 14
Do that
foot
math real
wall,
quick.
and then the ratio of a 6 footer to 18 foot wall, it's kind of a 3 to 1 ratio. Or it's close to a 3 to 1 ratio. And so for us, doing the mega wall is kind of like Barclay doing the regular wall.
Maybe.
And that gives me a large like level of respect.
Yeah, for
One,
sure.
for how you've trained and you can do it consistently, because ratio wise,
You ever tried the mega wall?
yeah, I'm about like a full hand away from the
Yeah,
top.
that's pretty good.
that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. How many steps do you guys take on the mega wall?
depends.
I
If
think I do 5.
on a
'Cause-
good day, I like have gotten it in 3, but I should be taking 4 or
Because
5.
it takes me 4 to get to 14 and a half. I take 4
Yeah.
steps on
Take
the
like
wall.
8 steps on the other
Okay.
one.
Yeah, whenever I do the mega, I've been trying to get to like 6, but it's hard to like keep running that long.
Yeah, for sure. Well, like,
Yeah.
because once it's like just physics, right? Like, at some point, all your steps with all the power you generate with the start, you give away some of it every step you take on the wall. So if you're taking like 8 steps, by the 8 steps, you have like nothing left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a like give and take. But for me, it was so hardwired in my brain to do 3 steps on the regular wall. That took me a long time. And I'm still like probably like would be struggling with it if I was training that right now.
Yeah, to break the
Because I
cycle.
try to do 3 steps on the mega wall, and I've gotten it doing that before, but it's really hard. It's
That's
like way harder.
wild.
It's way harder than if I just take like 4 or 5 steps, but that's hard because it feels unnatural to me. So they're both hard, but for different reasons. One's
Yeah.
like physically hard, and one's just like I have to like mentally break like these habits.
If you do the 3 step, you jump too early, but you have more grip on your shoe because you're not at
Yeah.
too high of an angle. So, but if you take 3 or 4 or 5, then you're higher up the wall, but you have less grip because the wall is more vertical. So now you're slipping versus when it's lower.
Yeah.
You have more of a plant and you can push. And that's where the Zontes are key. Like
Yeah, for sure.
I can't do it without the Zontes. I've tried this other shoe called Strikes, which are a better parkour shoe, but they're slightly less grippy.
Is it
Can't
Strikes?
do it. They're
Strike
Strikes.
movement.
oh, okay.
Yeah. They're a cool shoe. I like
Yeah.
them.
I've been considering trying those since like Zontes are hard to find.
What
but
I'm
Yeah,
saying is,
that's what I had to switch to.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it though. Like my Zontes work.
I can't get Zontes. You trying
What
to hook
size
your
are
boy
you?
up? I'm like 10 and a half.
See, I would have hooked you up, but it's not the right
I
size.
didn't know.
there's some outlets and like you can find them online sometimes.
They'll pop up on Amazon
Okay.
once in a while. That's where I got all of mine. Every time
Okay.
they're on Amazon, I'm like, buy 4 next. Like,
Yeah, I had some alerts, but I couldn't find them, so I used a
Yeah.
busted up pair last year. But that shoes matter. Barclay has done really well on the wall, which is one of the hardest feats, especially for a height consideration.
But
So,
the wall used to be
prop
hard
that.
for everybody, though.
That's true.
You remember, like, back in the
Yeah.
day, like nobody was getting the wall. Even on the regular show,
Yeah.
people were with it. But now it's a gimme. Like, nobody's missing the wall. If you're missing a wall, it's like, what? Why are you missing this wall?
It's
Yeah.
a level of training.
Yeah, it's
back
crazy.
then no one had trained it, so it was new to try it. But then also there's the cardio consideration. Like
Yeah.
Barclay mentioned earlier, she didn't like parkour only because they made you run.
Yeah.
In real parkour, you're not running that much.
No,
And
it's
I
there's
hated
nothing
running
to
as
do with
well.
running.
So I'm like, ninja seems cool because
Yeah.
I was doing obstacle course races and I hated the running.
Yeah.
I was like, what can I just skip it on that running
Just
part and
don't
do the
run.
obstacles?
Ninja was like the perfect combination of like all of the things that I'd been trying. It was like gymnastics, parkour, trapeze, like all combined. And so it was like, it's just perfect. It was like
Yeah.
the trifecta.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's
And
good.
then I started rock climbing after that. So then, like it's
Yeah.
really like a
Which you were
combination.
natural for.
I love it.
Yeah. Rock climbing is, I have like a love-hate relationship with it because I enjoy it, but not as much as like other stuff. I do it for a grip workout, and that's really it.
We used to climb together a lot.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't
Back in the
remember
day.
climbing that much. I don't. Like,
Well, that's because you mostly just sat around and talked.
yeah, maybe. Probably. I don't know. I just don't remember like climbing that much. I remember I used to go to that other Inspire.
Yeah.
good
The
amount.
one in spring.
Yeah. But I like, my like technique sucks. It literally just like power through everything.
I felt like that's like actually like how we became friends was more so
Rock
like
climbing?
rock climbing than
Maybe.
like in the ninja gym because we talked a lot more rock climbing.
Yeah, because there's not as many people.
Yeah.
It's true. But I'm trying to think back on, it's like a blur. It seems like a different lifetime ago.
Yeah.
Like those days.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic. Even then, yeah. But 2015, what was like, I think I was in high school.
You
like a
were-
freshman.
How old were you?
You were
2015?
little
Yeah.
one.
Do the math.
You're
are we,
still in high school
21?
for sure.
You're in high school.
I was like 17, 8,
Wow.
16, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
was
you were always young,
A young
to
lad.
me.
How old are you
But-
now? I don't even, you're what, 22, 23?
5.
And
6?
in what
Five.
year?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Yeah.
I'm 27.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that
Is it
makes sense.
23?
So how old were you when you started, actually?
When I started training, I think I was
20 or
20
21?
or 21. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was
you were-
21.
I think you were 21 your first season.
I was because that was
Was
you
it
had to
2016?
be you had
Yeah.
to be 21
That was
to compete.
before they lowered the age limit
Yeah.
like, for kids.
So
for kids.
you had to be 21 to compete, and I didn't start like actually training till I was 21. Like,
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
it's crazy because like kids are training from like
7 years old.
Yeah,
Out
like-
the womb.
Right.
like so many kids these days that are like on the show like they've never done any other sport but ninja. You
Yeah.
know?
What has been your, I don't want to say favorite season, but like, if you think of like any like season, I guess, or travel or trip from like official Ninja Warrior stuff, what's been like your favorite like year, I guess?
I think my second year, so season 9.
Okay.
So we competed. Our regionals was in San Antonio.
Yeah.
That's the first year I like completed the warped wall, and like just like the amount of support. Like I think if I think about like my favorite moment from Ninja Warrior ever, it's like after I came out of the water, falling on the 8th obstacle, and like everyone like dog piled me, and like Nate carried me on his shoulders.
that.
Like that
Yeah.
was just like I felt like a freaking superhero
Yeah.
and really had accomplished like of course I wanted to like finish the city finals
Yeah.
but like it felt like monumental to me because I think I was like either the 6th or 7th woman ever to complete the warped wall
Yeah.
and then I'd like in that moment also become like the shortest athlete on Ninja Warrior ever to beat the 14 and a half foot wall so it was like yeah and then I had like a really good season in Vegas like I made
Yeah.
it to the final obstacle like my rookie year in Vegas and
is
just
insane.
timed out.
Yeah.
like was the shortest person ever to make it through the jumping spider.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think Tyler from Chicago, I think he was like, he's 5'1". So like, I think
Yeah.
he had been like the shortest.
What's his last name? Yama some. I don't want to butcher his
I'm going to
last
mess
name.
it up if I say it. So I'm not
We'll
going to
just call him
try.
Tyler.
Tyler Y.
Tyler what? Yeah.
yeah.
He's I think
Yama.
this year somebody was telling me the big jumping obstacle on stage 2. I got to test that in like the warehouse. It was super fun. But it's like a big like cylinder that kind of drops in, and you have to wrap your hands around it. And when he did it, he was so short that he couldn't grab like the ledges, so
Yeah.
he was just like trying to pancake it.
Yeah, he was just like compressing.
Yeah, that would suck. You're like,
yeah.
I can't reach.
they needed some smaller testers for sure.
Yeah.
On that obstacle.
Yeah. But back to your season 9, I remember that season in San Antonio. That was awesome. I mean, I remember your first season because we were all together in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And that was my first season to get accepted. That was your first season on. Kid, you were there, weren't you? Did you test in Oklahoma?
Was that when it was really cold? And
He
it
was
Really
too young
cold.
to
The
test.
tornado came through.
I was
we
there.
went into the basement of the
I didn't
Capitol
test.
building.
He was too young. You were too young to test.
Yeah, I was too young to test.
I just remember you being there.
No, I was there.
I didn't realize you were too young to even test.
No, I was too young to test.
So we had a cool experience in Oklahoma City. Now, you didn't do as well as you wanted to.
No.
Jerry was there with us, wasn't she?
She came to watch for a
Came to
little
watch.
bit. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So you were frustrated and disappointed. I think Jerry had fallen on the same obstacle the year before, and
Yeah.
when her and my brother competed in
the
military
military
region
special,
in 2015. So you had some frustration and distaste in your mouth from that, but you did like a year later redeem yourself. But really, the cool part was that's when we got to be on Team Ninja Warrior with Daniel
Yes.
later that year. It was in August, something like
Yeah.
that. So you had done well in Vegas, so you were feeling good and confident. I had
No,
gotten
because I
hurt.
didn't make it to Vegas that year.
Oh, that was 2017 when you made it to Vegas.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
talk a little bit about Team Ninja Warrior because I don't even really know anything about that. Like
Yeah, that was before you really started. I mean, you came in strong the next year. It was your
that,
rookie
I think
season.
that year I did
The
College
college-
Madness. So after you
That's
guys
what it
filmed, I
was.
came
That's
in. And
why
did College
you had
Madness.
the breakout.
Yeah.
So we had Team Ninja Warrior 2. It was the second round, and that was 2016. I think 2015 was the first time it happened. It was an outdoor place, like cargo container backdrop.
Yeah.
I wasn't a part of it, but I thought, man, that is so cool. Like that's the best version of Ninja
Yeah.
that I would enjoy because it's a
Yeah.
little more parkour-y and less gymnastics or rock climbing. And I remember pitching it to Daniel. I'm like, bro, you, me, Barclay, we'd make a killer team.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at this as far as speed. Daniel was one of the best. I was like, Barclay would be really good. So we were talking about it, and eventually we like agreed we're
Yeah.
gonna do that. So we pitched it and went for the team. And we were doing some prep work in the gym at Iron Sports and getting ready. And you were nailing that wall. You were nailing it consistently in practice. But when we would do a full run, usually you're so
I'd
tired by the
gas
time you
and
get there,
out.
you couldn't get it.
It made me so nervous.
And so that was a big moment of going, oh man, what's going to happen if the game's on the
Yeah.
line? And we were still down for it. We're like, cool, you're going to give it your full go, and whatever happens, happens. But I remember the moment in Team Ninja, you had your first race, or maybe I think you and I ate it pretty bad on the first race.
yeah, I
got hurt,
I
no?
got
Yeah, later
Oh,
on,
yeah.
I got badly hurt, but
I like made it on my first race. I was racing like Michelle Warnke, and she was like my hero.
yeah,
and I was
she's
like,
good too.
Yeah,
and she had experience.
yeah, and I beat her to the wall, but then I missed it. I think my
I
first,
think so.
and so then she made it
Yeah.
on her first try, and so then it like lit a fire in me, and then
I think you started to walk away, and I was like, Barclay, finish this wall right now. Like, even though the race is over, finish it to get that mental battle or win. I remember like telling you like, hey, we're going to do this right here. And you did it. And then you're like, oh, I can get this now. Was it in that race with
I don't
Michelle,
know.
or was it the next one?
adrenaline. I don't remember that at all.
It's a little bit of a blur. I just remember being so hyped, but something disappointing happened. That's what it was. So Michelle got the win, and you were like, not even going to try it. I was like, hey, if you get this right here, it's going to click for you.
It's free
and you're gonna
practice,
have the
yeah.
confidence.
Might as
And
well.
so you're like, okay. And then you went for it and got it.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but
We're
I
going to have some
believe you.
fans
I
like dial
believe
in
you.
and give us some correction on this. That's fine. But I remember like having that conversation with you while you're standing there. It was either when you're leading a race, and I was trying to calm you down, or it was already over. And I was saying,
Yeah.
hey, get the free.
We had a really
free
good
rep. Yeah.
team dynamic. Like it was
Yeah, it was
just
fun.
fun. Yeah.
It was really fun.
But yeah, then like that loss, like just lit a
Yeah.
fire in me. I don't think I think I won every other
Yep.
race I
I'm
had.
not gonna lose again.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
wasn't
what it
about
was. I mean,
that.
it lit the fire in you, and you got to test the wall. You got it, and then
Yeah.
that was like, hey, she can do this.
Yeah.
So at one point, you jumped in and were like, hey, let me take this next race, because Daniel and I were trying to decide, do I go against this one person? Who do we select? And you're like, hey, just put me up. I'm gonna go first.
Yeah.
Give me their best girl, and you jumped in and you got the win against her.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who it was, but that's what propelled us. And then I got the next win and recovered from my fail, and then we won that round, won the
Yeah.
next round, and we got into the
Made it to the finals.
yeah, we got into the finals
Yeah.
against eventually the winning team. But unfortunately, well, before that, to get to the finals, we had the relay. So it was
Yeah.
you, Daniel, and I on the course. You started, and it was against Michelle's team. So,
Relays bring back bad memories for me,
right.
man.
So we'll tee that up because next season, Kid had done the college version
Yeah.
of Ninja Warrior.
So
Team
it
Ninja
was the
Warrior.
same location. It was really cool. I remember like
Was that same
Yeah,
It was like right after we finished
right
filming.
after you guys
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
They flew
That's
us
what it
in
was.
because they had the same
Yeah.
set.
This is your first time competing on Ninja.
And they like nerfed the course, so it was like really like it was a lot easier. Well, not a lot easier, but like so for the second obstacle, it was just like less slanted for
Yeah.
us. And they gave us like a little practice run, I guess. And I like killed it the first time, like, and so like most people were like, they kind of knew who I was a little bit because they're like, oh, this guy's like pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't look like it. And then the second run I did for like, because I think we got 2 practice runs. I just like, remember the chain to the cargo net?
Yeah.
I like get on that and I just like let go and try to like lachey off the chain to the net, but get like nowhere near it. Just drop in the
in
water.
here.
And they're like, oh, maybe that guy's not as good as we thought.
The hype train crashed
Yeah, I
right
was
there.
like-
It derailed.
Yeah, but I didn't care because I'd killed it the first time. So
Yeah.
I was kind of like, yeah, whatever.
You knew your
But no,
confidence.
it was a lot of
good.
fun. Like, it felt a little like unfair because the guys I was going up against were like random like ultimate frisbee athletes or like dudes who just didn't do.
This was
it.
college edition, right? So you had
Yeah.
a team from UH.
Yeah,
Weren't
it
you
was-
like walking around the campus looking at athletic people and saying,
No, I
"Hey, would
didn't.
you want to do this with me?"
I should have. Honestly, that would have been cool if I like find like some people who were really good. But I kind of just submitted, and then a couple of the people from U of H submitted, so they ended up just making a team out of who they liked. It was me, Haley Houston, and then Zach. I don't remember his last name, but no, we were killing it. I don't think I lost a race that year, but we go into the relay. Bad times.
Oh, boy.
And so we're talking about like strategy because it's the first section and then there's a second section up to the warp wall and there's a back half section.
Yeah, it's like 3 obstacles each.
And the final
per
thing is
person.
a rope climb, right? So I was thinking like, man, I'm like decent at rope climbs, but I'm nothing crazy. Like at that time, like I'm pretty good at them now, but at that time, like I hadn't trained them like I trained them before. So I was like, I'll get up it, but not with any speed. And then the Zach guy on my team was like ROTC guy. So I was thinking like, oh, ROTC military, like they do ropes. Like the guy's probably like a baller on the ropes.
And he didn't correct you on that?
No, he didn't get to the rope.
Oh.
So me, Haley, and him like line up. She's first, I'm second. Haley is like pretty even with the chick. She tags me and then I go. And I give this dude like a 12-second lead. And then like he gets on the sand ladder and just falls. And I'm standing there like, oh, I made a mistake. Like I was just standing there and I look at the other guy just like complete it. And I'm just like, why didn't I take the anchor spot? I'm so stupid. Like it was my fault. Like I don't blame Zach at all. That was on me. Like I should have taken that spot and taken that pressure. And like to this day, it's not really a regret, but it was like a lesson of like, I can't be mad at him. Like it's my fault. Like I should have taken that spot. Like I can't give him the pressure spot and then be mad at him if he fails. Like that's not on him. Like if I wanted to change that outcome, it was up to me to take that pressure on.
That was a good learning moment.
For sure, yeah.
Teaching, learning moment.
So now, like, if I want something, I'm not gonna like off put that to somebody else. It's like I have to do it to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out that experience. That was fun. I was so bummed too because
Yeah.
I was like, I thought we were really gonna win it because like all these other guys were kind of bums. And then that happened, and I was like, "Oh no, we just lost."
Oof.
Because that knocked us out.
Laid an
There was
egg,
no
yeah.
like,
Dang.
and there's nothing I could. I was literally just standing
Yeah.
on the wall watching, and
Oh.
I was like, "There's nothing I can do right now."
That's
I was
painful.
so bummed.
On the bright side, it's what propelled you into Ninja and
Yeah,
made a
it's
name
true.
for yourself.
Yeah.
And so the next season, the producers of the show decided to lower the age limit from 21 to 19 so that you could be on. And then you killed it in that season.
Yeah. Well, that
So-
was just for the Ninja versus Ninja.
What?
Because after College Madness, I got to do Ninja versus Ninja.
That's
then
what-
after Ninja versus Ninja, I got to do the real
Okay,
show
that's
with my
right.
team.
So they lowered it first for Ninja versus
I was
Ninja,
actually
and then
technically
into-
too young for College Madness. I just turned 18, like barely just turned 18 because I just gotten back from France. It was like after August-ish. And I remember like the cutoff was like turning 18 before August. I turned 18 like August 4th. So I remember like calling like I think it was Pete or something. And I was like, come on, man. Like, let me do this.
Come on.
I remember that. I remember
Work
you
it
being
out.
like, I'm gonna call Peter.
It worked.
It did,
Smart
yeah.
move.
He was like,
Peter's a softie.
Yeah, he's
if
like,
you,
"Aight,
if you
bro."
hit him with the, come on.
well, I don't think it was
man,
his
come on,
chance
hit
at the end of the day, but it was like I was gonna be 18 when they filmed, so
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, might as well let this
Well,
guy
they
do it.
normally would just throw out the consideration, but if you can get on Peter's good side, be like, come
Yeah.
on, think about it. He'll be like, he'll put a good word in, or he'll have the rationale behind why. Hey, by the time this happens, we can do it.
Yeah,
Shout out to Peter.
yeah, but those were like I'm trying to like get back to like the passion I had back then for training for this stuff. I just
Yeah.
like can't find it. I must
Yeah.
have like misplaced it.
There's a lot that's changed.
I feel you.
I think we were talking last episode or a few rounds ago when Grant was here. Like all of us as OGs. I mean, this is my 7th season. This is your 5th.
This next one will be my 6th if I compete.
So this season, this past one.
Yeah,
is
was
your
my 5th.
And all of us as OGs now, the original gangsters for those young kids out there. We've had some goes at this, and we've seen these kids. Literally, we got one here. We've seen these other kids like come up and do well.
Yeah,
and we've all kind of gotten burnt out to some degree.
Yeah,
You know, it's emotionally, it's a toll. Like you get really excited, you train really hard, and then you get hit with some disappointment. There's things that just weigh on you, life experiences, things you've gone through the past couple of years as well. Yeah. All of this does begin to weigh on you. And at first we come in the Ninja with high hopes, expectations, but mostly just excitement, the newness.
Because it's new, right?
Yeah, and it's fun. And we're making friendships within that journey. And we do the Team Ninja Warrior piece. But after a while, you're like, man, this is a lot of work and not a lot of payback for it. Like we mentioned last episode, you're not actually getting paid.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. And I think we all are looking for this. Like, how do we renew our joy or our excitement in it? Yeah. Transition it.
If I find that answer, I would share it with you.
Yeah, y'all let me know if y'all have a guest on here that has that answer. I think like so much of it is that if you don't train year round for Ninja Warrior, like you're already behind, especially because all of the kids that are coming in, like they're training year round. They don't have jobs, so like they're able to train way more than us. And so like if you can't keep up with the kids, like it's
like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean,
you're probably going to get knocked out first round.
I remember when I like first started like Ninja, like I was so strong and I didn't have any injuries. And I was like, oh, bet. Like I can probably make it to stage 3 in like 2-3 years. Like, but I didn't have the technique. Yeah. Like I was so strong, but like I was lacking like so much knowledge on like just basic ninja technique.
I'm like the polar opposite of that back in the day. Like, not very strong, but like super good at technique.
Yeah, but that's because you started so young.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and so like, and I was like trying to like break my gymnastics technique because like gymnastics technique and like ninja, like
gymnastics is perfectionist.
Yes.
And ninja's a little more just wing it.
Yeah, so I was like swinging with like straight arms, straight knees, like pointed toes at first, and like trying to like break all that like took probably a full like
you still
year.
See it too, like you still have like, I mean, Naj is another good example of like he's very like militant when
methodical,
he's like swinging and stuff. Like legs are together, toes are pointed.
And if you like watch kids like Link and stuff, their body just looks like
just doing the worm.
Like
it's just
doing,
flowing, which you can't do in the
so
gymnastic mentality.
Yeah,
there's pros and cons. I remember seeing you when you were attempting that wall. You were so methodical with your foot placement.
Yeah,
because that's what you do in gymnastics. Everything is very precise and repeated. And I never had any of that foundation. It was just like be athletic. And so I just kind of throw myself at stuff and I could get it. Sometimes that paid off well. Other times, like when I'm trying the mega wall, I have to be methodical. And that's where I'm like, man, respect the way that Barclay can do this. Yeah. Because you have to repeat that process exactly and then make fine-tuned adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, that really like came from like the event in gymnastics vault. I don't know how familiar you guys are, but that's the one with
the
like
run, like bounce, and then
the runway. It's an 80-foot runway, springboard, vault table, and each portion of that has like a precise, like you have a precise setting. You have a precise amount of steps.
Yeah,
you had to always start with the same foot, always exactly, at like 72 feet or whatever. You have a spot where you hurdle from. How many springs go in the springboard, like what height the vault table's at. Like all of that is so precise that like I was able to transition like vault to the warped wall like pretty easily when it comes to I was like, okay, so I need to start with this foot. I need my foot like at this portion of my first step on the incline at like this place, 4 steps, jump, so some of it, like you're saying, is like so helpful, but like the swinging stuff. The air awareness was good, like the body awareness was good, but like my technique was a tough thing to change.
Yeah, that's fair. I wanted to, we were talking about like ninja stories and stuff, and it just came to my mind when I was writing notes for this episode yesterday. But the team Kristine, you remember that?
Oh my god!
That's a blur because it didn't really like count for me.
Were y'all on the team together?
I feel so bad for Tyler Gillette.
He just touched nothing. So for some background, this is like season 10 or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is an all-star episode, so it's like the hosts pick their 3-member teams, like girl and 2 guys usually. So it's Matt, Akbar, and Kristine that year. So Kristine picks me, Barclay, and Tyler Gillette. And at this point, like, I'm done. Like, I've like competed all the way up to stage 2, I think. I think that's the year I fell on the wing nut. I'd ruptured a pulley in my hand. So like I destroyed one of my fingers like 2 weeks before Vegas. So I was happy with how I did, but like my hand was like still jacked up. And I'd just done USA versus the world as well.
And so had I. We'd been on the team together.
You were on there as well.
Both of us had been on like every specialty episode that there was.
And then they're
this
like,
is a long week because you got stage 1, stage 2 the next night, stage 3 and 4 the same night, and then you went into
and then like USA versus the world, and then that, and then by that time like I had no more competitive juices. My body hurt. My hand was like throbbing. I didn't want to like jack it up more than it already was. So we go. I think stage 1 is the first stage, and me and Barclay just like I don't remember if you fell your first run. I think I ate shit my first run for sure. I remember on the tire thing actually. And it was like a bad wipeout. Like I felt fine, but I remember like people were like, "Are you good?" Because I like fell really hard, but it was like a mat. Then I rolled back into the water.
Yeah.
So then we go on to stage 2, and then I eat it again, and then you eat it, and we just kept eating it, and then like it was only me and her because it's a relay race, so it's me, Barclay, and then Tyler every time.
Oh,
but we're
Tyler.
either me or her are falling, right?
Yeah.
So every time Tyler's just sitting there like
He didn't get to touch a single thing.
No, he didn't do
Tyler,
anything.
we love you.
He just looked pretty the
I'm
entire
so
time.
You know what
sorry.
happened, right? That's a flashback to your first Team Ninja Warrior finals when that relay happened, and that guy was at the end.
Yeah, he was at the end waiting, but he never got to.
Yeah. So like what actually happened was like I think stage 1, I don't think I fell on stage 1, but I was on the first leg because I'm like pretty good at the double dipper and like all of the first things. And I'd never done like the back half of, stage 1. So, well, I had except for the final obstacle, but I'm just like, I'm hit or miss on the warped wall.
Yeah.
Which I've proven over and over again, like in Vegas. And so we're like, okay, I can't be there. So I'll like go first. You had decided, you told me like, you're just not going to stop. Like
I was going for broke.
Yeah, you were like.
I went into the jumping spider off of 1 foot. On the trampoline, I bounced
Oh my
off
God,
one
I
foot.
remember that.
I went off 1 foot because I was going so fast.
Yeah, he did.
I went in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then, he was just racing. And
I was going very fast.
then
kid's fast when he's-
Tyler doesn't get to do anything on stage 1 because then we're done. And then then we go to stage 2 and we were struggling on the placement, like who's going to be where, because at first like I was going to be on the wing nut section because I'm too small to make that. What was that obstacle called where you'd run swing surfer?
Swing
right?
surfer, yeah.
I'm like we
Oh,
were
the big jump.
Yeah,
That's where I
I was
destroyed
like,
my ankle.
I don't think I can do that. Like I'm little.
Yeah.
And most of the time,
I think.
Yeah.
most of the time with like most obstacles on Ninja Warrior, I'm like, I can still do this. I can like compensate in a different way. But that one, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. So we were gonna put me either like at the end or at the beginning, but your hand was messed up. So we're like, okay, I'll go at the end, even though I had no idea if I could. Those wing nuts were so
I was
far
like
apart.
praying that like I didn't get tagged because I didn't want to use my hand.
Yeah.
So like when you fell, I was like, thank God.
Yeah. So at first you started on the.
Yeah.
You fell on the
you're
same
right.
ladder.
I think I like did it for. I don't know if it was like a
You
trial run or
first,
whatever.
Tyler was second, and you were last.
I was last and you fell. So then we changed the order because you get like 1 fall per team or something like
remember.
that.
Okay.
And so then we switch it up. And then I fell on the transfer. Like I made it all the way across like all of the rungs. And then on the last transfer before I like was going to touch Tyler, I hit like too high on the rung. And then one side hit first. And I think I thought like I had missed the rung. And so then like I just got yanked off. And whenever I like fell in the water and looked up, like the salmon ladder was like still on the rungs. And I was like,
Oh, that's rough.
no,
Could've
but
hung on.
yeah, poor Tyler.
I was happy. I like didn't show it, but when you fell, I was like, yes.
I was actually relieved too because I was so exhausted
I didn't want to
because
do anything else.
I competed stage 1, Team USA. That was like the next night was like all stars, and then I still had skills the next day.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna compete on the
think
super salmon ladder.
I had skills, but I like opted out
Yeah,
of it. I was like, no,
you
I'm
and
not
I
doing
were
this.
actually the only 2 athletes that were chosen for every single specialty episode, and they're all in 1 week.
Yeah, that's a
And
huge drain.
so because you ended up pulling out of the skills thing, I was the only one who did like every single specialty episode out of everybody. And I was like, what in the world?
Shout out to you guys.
But you won everything. Nah, that was fun. Honestly, that might be my favorite season because of like everything was cool. We won like USA versus the world. So
Yeah.
and like I like loved competing with the Aussies and the Europeans. They were all super chill. So that was a really good season. I think we were at the Palms that year. But that was great.
Yeah,
memories from
that was
After the
a nice
upgrade
one.
from
I never did the Hooters one. I wasn't there for
Hooters
that.
a couple times. Ooh.
I heard that was a bad time though.
Ugh.
It wasn't.
Yeah, that was
I
a
never
bad
stayed
time.
there
was
because the
dank.
last year they were at the Hooters Hotel was season 8, and I went out there to test, and I wasn't staying there, but I was like, wow, this. Yeah. So
Yeah,
the
it was-
Palms was definitely a good upgrade. Have you? Speaking of like the international athletes, have you considered having any of them on the podcast? Because that would be awesome.
I've been trying to get Shane on. But I like having people in person, so I don't love like the video stuff. I think like, the dynamic in person is really good. But I admit, like obviously for Akbar, like we did it because it's hard to get him out here, and he's like a really good episode to have. But for the most part, I'm gonna try to keep it to where we can have people in person. But if it gets to the point to where like we run out of people, then yeah, we'll start getting some international people. But Shane would be a great one, and then I'm cool with that German guy, Audi, I think, or Ollie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Ollie.
sweetheart. There's a bunch of them that are great, but they also don't speak really great English. Some of them is just like real broken English. So
Oh, so many of them like speak way better English than like I speak German for sure. Like,
for sure.
like
Well, if you're making that comparison,
Yeah.
no, I mean
the
like
bar's low.
they'll
Sprechen die Deutsch?
but they'll say like I don't speak good English,
yeah.
but it's like I can.
That's
We can
everywhere in the world
communicate.
though, because English is such an easy language compared to everything else.
Yeah, but I mean like they say that they don't speak good
Yeah.
English, but it's like totally
Yeah,
easy
yeah.
to communicate with them.
For
So
sure. Yeah, that's true.
not a great comparison, but
Yeah.
still like there's so many of the athletes that you could have
Yeah.
a really good podcast
yeah,
with.
just get the Aussies because
Yeah,
everyone will tune in just to hear their
Ben would be
accent.
great. Ben or Ashlyn.
Olivia.
Olivia would be great too. They
Yeah.
used to like be in Houston more often.
Yeah.
But I guess with COVID and stuff, they just haven't been around as
Well,
well.
Australia has like a lot of like restrictions, so
They're super strict.
yeah.
They are locked down.
Yeah. They're like
Yeah.
militant about it. I
Scary
think, is
lockdown.
what I've
Yeah.
heard.
People are arrested if they go for more than a kilometer away from their home.
That's crazy.
I'm seeing like body slammed, arrested.
Dang.
You're out because there's like
Well,
not only
Shane,
just a curfew. you can
Shane's
only-
one of the ATS guys. He said he worked in Australia for Ninja Warrior there.
Mm-hmm.
He said like because they had to quarantine for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, 14 days.
14 days, and like, but it was super strict. Like he got off the plane and like he was escorted by like military to like a hotel
His hotel room.
and there's like a dude in the hallway like walking back and forth.
He couldn't even open his window. Like,
I would lose my mind. I
Oh,
couldn't do that.
No way.
Straight up couldn't do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of what Exatlon was for us.
Yeah.
For months,
But not
Like, locked
isolated,
away.
like,
No,
alone?
not
That's
correct.
like, bro.
we weren't isolated. We were just
That makes it so much
kind of
worse.
quarantined. Yeah, that's horrible.
That's literally like they punish
Can't even go
prisoners with
for a-
that. With if they like act up, they put them in
think
like
about your mental health. If you solitary confinement.
Yeah.
If you can't go for a walk outside, how much that damages your mental health.
Yeah, no, he was
Locked away for 2
Yeah.
weeks.
During
he
the
probably like wouldn't want me to tell this story, but he was telling me he was literally like losing his mind. He was just like in the bathroom peeing, and he just started like peeing everywhere just for fun. I was
oh
like,
my god.
like, what are you doing, bro? Because he was just like losing his mind. He's 14
Yeah.
days by himself. He's just
Yeah.
bored out of his mind.
I think he said even like whenever his food got delivered to his door, like the security guards would like walk away so that he could get his food.
Yeah.
So he didn't even like see them like at meal times and
Yeah.
stuff.
I would
But,
just
like-
like try to reach out to any human contact. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Please.
Quarantine in France was chill
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
and
Because
awesome.
you were on the beach.
Yeah, I think the rules were like you could spend like 2 hours outside a day or something
But
like
they
that.
don't enforce it.
Yeah, and they don't
you do whatever
enforce
you
it.
want, Yeah.
I spent a lot of time outside.
Yeah, that's good. It'll drive you crazy.
No, for sure.
I had it last year. Not when I almost broke my neck on that show.
Yeah.
They put me in this small apartment and they locked me in there, and I couldn't leave. And we didn't have a TV, and they would bring me food every day, and they would just put it by the door, and then like open the door and slide it in.
And you don't even have your phone when
Didn't
you're
have
on
my
that
phone,
show, right?
So I had no contact.
just- oh my God.
And I could go sit. I had this neck brace, and I could walk at that point. So I'd go sit on the little balcony, and I'd look out over this kind of golf course area.
Yeah.
And I'd see people walking that only spoke Spanish, and then I'd have to go back inside, and I just ate food.
learn
And I
Spanish
did that
real
for 2.5
quick.
weeks. Well,
Yeah.
not in that case. I had no one with me. I
Yeah,
just
that's
couldn't
rough,
leave. Dude,
man.
it was torture.
Jeez. Did you get like I remember you telling me about like trying to like get journals and like paper and pens and stuff like that, and even how like that was
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hard. Like, did you have any of
Like,
that?
that
Could you
was the
write? Like,
prison
could you
element.
read?
So I'd smuggled in a couple of pieces of like notebook paper, and then at that point, I'd also smuggle it in. We'd come back. Oh,
How'd you smuggle it?
It was
Where'd
crazy.
you keister or where'd it go?
There was so on the show, the context of some of this, like one guy that had been on the show before, one guy and one girl on our team, they'd been on, and so they smuggled in like a couple $100, like in their underwear.
Oh my God.
And so as the
Do
season
they like
would
strip
progress,
you down to your underwear and search you?
they would they'd make you change in front of them, and you'd have to basically strip down to your underwear or your boxers. And so it'd be like one of the male producers would come in with the guys, like, okay, guys, you strip down. Here's the clothes they're going to give you. So you have to put on their shorts and their t-shirts. So you strip down to like your boxers, put their stuff on.
They put it in a little bin and give it back to you
And
again.
then they take your bag away from you, and they give you this little backpack that has a few changes of clothes and toiletries, which is deodorant and toothbrush. So that's all we were given. So I didn't know that. So I had brought a few things into my backpack, and they took it all away the first time I got on. And the other guys had like tucked in money in their pockets or
Looking at you smiling like, first time, bro?
So
Fish.
with that, later on, they would buy like some cookies, things like that. One guy, for my birthday, he bought a hammer because I was building this little tree house out in the woods, and I was using old rusty nails that I found on set and a rock. And I was trying to build
Oh my
something. But
God.
he paid like $10 and got me a hammer from one of the guards. Okay, so later in the season, after I
This
was,
literally sounds like prison. Like,
Yeah.
I
were you in the
mean,
gulags? Like,
a few
where
people were like
you?
buying cigarettes and stuff like that from the guards.
There's like crooked guards.
It
and
was
stuff.
full
Yeah.
on what prison looked like. And so the second time around, I smuggled in a couple of notepads, and I didn't have them on my body. What I did was I hid them out in the bushes outside from like the holding place where they brought us in. So from the airport to this compound we were on before they moved us into
Why wouldn't
the
they let you
shack
have
in the
notepads,
woods.
though?
It's a mental battle. So they
Oh,
don't
they
want you
like
to
do it
have,
on purpose?
They don't want you to have any kind of mental outlet. They're trying to break you. So you're competing every day athletically, but they're also trying to break you mentally. You don't have your phone. You don't have the ability to talk to your friends or family. So that's part of the element of this.
They don't even like. Do
Survivor.
they advertise that part of the show?
Not really.
So it's like it just seems like a dick move. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's part of the game format, but they don't really show it anymore.
Yeah.
And that was what got really frustrating. They're like, all this stuff you're making us do, the audience isn't seeing
Yeah.
it. So they don't even know
It's just hard for no reason.
why we're breaking. Exactly.
I think part of that has to do with they're trying to force interaction. Like
Oh,
if
maybe.
you have like a journal, you have books
Yeah.
and stuff like that, you're not going to be like talking as much
Yeah.
to the like
Yeah,
other
that's true.
competitors
There's
and
some truth
teammates
to
and
that.
stuff. Because I was invited onto the challenge like a couple years ago.
was too.
You were too. We were
Yeah.
invited at the same time, and I was like, heck no.
No,
Like,
they tried to get me like 2 seasons in a row,
Yeah.
and it's just too much drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, shout out to Natalie, but like that, I think I would like cry all the time in that environment. I'm too sensitive.
Yeah.
So, but she was telling me like they have to do the same thing. Like they're trying to force interaction. So you can't bring any type of, like you can't have books, you can't have a journal, like nothing. So she was like smuggling notepads and stuff like
my.
that. She said there was this one chick that smuggled on like a Bible that's like this big, like just teeny tiny Bible and stuff like that. And it's all about like the more time you're spending talking to other people, like the more drama and like stuff like that they
there's
have
cameras
to use.
everywhere
So.
on that show and
Yeah.
on this one. The one I did was kind of like the challenge. And so that's a good point. They're trying to
It's a
force
lot
that.
less drama based.
Well-
That's MTV versus like
Correct.
Telemundo.
The strategy of MTV is to create drama. Telemundo's strategy was to create interaction. It was reality TV, but they're not feeding you alcohol and like situations to try to make you fight.
Yeah, but I haven't fully counted it out. Like it's still in the back of my mind. I'm like, if they'll still have me, like I might do it. We'll see.
What's the biggest piece that you wouldn't do it for? You're saying the drama, like people are aggressive, right? So they're gonna beat you up for being sensitive.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
I think I'd just be like I think like I've had friends be on that show before that were just like it is so much more mental than like anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like I don't think I'm like mentally tough, but like I don't have like the guts to like
Yeah.
do like the hard things or like backstab people and like
Yeah.
stuff like that you have to do
So you
to
just
like
lose,
win.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd lose or I'd just be like withdrawn and like sad a lot, I
Yeah.
think. So I'd be crying.
So it's similar to Survivor where you have to like backstab people and kind of vote them off, or is it all? I thought it was more
don't even-
competition, but just
It's a little. I mean, the competitions are cool. That's like the one thing that drew me to it is like they have really interesting competitions. I wouldn't be built for some of them. Some of them I would crush in, but some of the wrestling stuff, you put like a 200 something pound dude in front of me, like he's gonna toss me.
yeah.
Yeah,
No
there's
way.
also like a lot of underwater challenges, and I'm not like the strongest swimmer.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then sometimes like I know like usually in like the final episode they make you eat like
Oh yeah,
like you're on this
that was a
climb.
big
Wait,
like
what?
no for me. Like
They-
eating
yeah.
just random like insects and
no.
disgusting
It's like
stuff.
intestines and
bro.
like
Okay, never
they-
mind. I
like-
was getting
Deal breaker.
excited for
and
a
you
second.
you
but-
can't like continue your hike until you finished a whole plate.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
I remember some dude like I think I watched a clip. One of the guys gave up. He was just like, I'm not eating this. And the host dude, whatever his name is, walks up. He's like, you don't gotta eat it, bro. You just bow out and get out of here. But like you're here, you might as well.
Yeah, but he was on a team, so
Yeah.
like, and it's
Oh,
for
that
$1
would
million,
make it worse for
and so
me.
like the chick that was with him,
was
like
pissed.
she was so pissed because
Yeah,
like
she ate it too.
She ate it, and then
and
he
was
just
like, I
wouldn't.
can't do this.
And so like he like
Oh, so she-
potentially
ooh.
made her lose
She was
like
I
$1
think she
million
was like, can I
bucks.
eat this for him? And he was like, no, he has to eat it. And he's like, I'm not eating this.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's also like very team oriented, and it's like I hate letting people down.
Yeah.
And so like that's another portion is like I feel like I would come across something I couldn't eat, and I'd be like
Yeah.
that dude, and
Yeah, I feel that.
that's just not my show.
Yep, that's good to know.
Imagine
I was
Ninja
considering
has
more
that,
and
just,
more
like,
of it, but
some insects right there, just like you gotta eat
fear
this.
factor was
I
always
could do
what I
insects.
wanted to do.
I could eat insects. That doesn't bother me. It's like wet, like intestine, like
I've
anything
eaten
wet.
crickets before, but
I could eat like crunchy insects.
Yeah,
but
if it's like dry and crunchy, like I'm okay
Yeah,
with that.
that's
if,
fine.
Like,
Like
if it's like a wet,
maggots or something
soupy,
like
like
that?
yeah, no.
could you eat like worms?
As soon as it's juicy, I'm out.
yeah,
Yeah.
same.
When I was in South Korea one time, like I tried silkworm larvae, and they're like cooked, but it's
Yeah.
like if you can
They're like
imagine,
just flour, right? They're like really floury.
mine weren't. Mine tasted like a tamale flavored fruit gusher.
That's not bad.
It wasn't. It like
When you
tasted good.
Think of it like that. It's tolerable.
It tasted good. It was like the pop kind of gets you a
Was it
little
like
bit.
squirming around in your mouth though?
No, it wasn't
makes me
alive.
Oh, it's dead.
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah. But those actually like were good. And that's I've had like that, and I've had like crickets before, and like neither of those were like bad experiences. But I feel like, yeah,
Crickets are I could do crickets.
I've had those a few times. They're not great.
No, they're not amazing, but it's like if
I
you're
can
like
tolerate that. For money, for a challenge, for TV, for a competition.
I'll just do it for
with a
fun. Like
team,
if I had like
I
some
could do
fried
that.
crickets right here, like I'd eat
Yeah.
one or two just for fun.
That's
it's not that bad.
That's why I did it. But
I think I've also had like fried like little bitty worms. It was like at the science museum when I was a kid, and so like they're not
yeah.
wet. I'm with you. If they're wet, I
Yeah.
can't.
So
I
it
can't do
seems
it.
like the outcome of that discussion is none of us are going to do the challenge.
If they
Or
have
if-
eating challenges,
fear
no.
I still feel like
Factor.
Grant's a go for that.
Nah, he's. I think he's like too emotional as well. He's kind of like Barclay in terms of like he would.
That's
We'd be
That's
like
true.
getting
It
in
would-
philosophical like
Because no, I've
conversations.
talked about it with
people.
Grant. He's like
Yeah.
he agrees. I
'Cause
think
he
he agrees
talked-
with me. Like yeah, he's.
Yeah,
It's like he.
I like the mental side because
Yeah.
what I experienced with Exatlon, I feel like I'm set up for that. But the part about eating things and backstabbing people, I can't do.
Yeah, there's
I
like
can handle the frustration, the drama. I can handle the challenges, but I couldn't handle.
I think Survivor even like would be a better fit for all of us, but there's still like a lot
Yeah.
of like
You still have to be
strategy and like
deceitful.
yeah, you have to be deceitful.
And-
And I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't there and you weren't there, but we played Chameleon, this like board game one time. It was like me, Grant, Tiana, T, and Abby.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Abigail-
I don't even know what that game is.
I've played it before.
So it's a
Grant
game where
likes
you
it.
feel like lie?
you gotta be deceitful. Like
Yeah.
one person, it's kind of like that game like Assassin. Like we all played when you're like kids and you're in a circle and like
Mm.
one person's the assassin. And like I was the chameleon at one point and I was like,
You're trying to
Yeah,
blend
like-
it. Everyone else
like-
is talking about a certain subject. Like, you know that we live in the state of Texas. And
Yeah.
everyone has a word. It's like, describe something about Texas without saying you're in Texas.
yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, I was born here. You weren't born here. You were born in France. But, you know, I'd say, yeah, I live in this place. And so that would be generally, you could say.
But
I
you're
live in
also
the
trying to
city.
be vague enough to not give the
So
chameleon
if,
like
if Barclay's the chameleon, she's trying to figure out what the word is. And if our word is Texas, and I say, hey, I live in this place. You don't know if that means a city, if it means a house, it means a state or country.
Yeah.
So it's general and it's vague enough to where you, also knowing the word is Texas, you're going to say something vague
Yeah.
enough to relate to Texas, and Barclay's trying to figure it out. So the chameleon is trying to figure it out without stating that I don't know what the word is.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to figure out who the chameleon is.
yeah, I like gave it
So-
away so bad. I'm just not a good liar,
That's a good thing.
which is it's great. But
right.
yeah, Survivor's not my show.
No survivor, no challenge.
Probably just Ninja.
We need a new version of Ninja.
Right.
We just need Team Ninja Warrior back or like Ninja
That would
versus
make me
Ninja
happy.
back.
If we got Team Ninja back
Yeah.
with a few more opportunities.
All right. If you could witness one historical event, like go back in time and just witness it, what would it be?
Yeah, Barclay, what would it be?
No,
on, Nate.
dang it.
I'm
He
a
was
host.
looking
I'm a
at
co-host.
you.
I was looking at you.
You know, I'm just facilitating
You don't
this
got it?
discussion. If I could witness one historical event,
To be honest, I haven't even thought about it that much. Like mine is. Ooh.
that's like asking my favorite movie. There's a lot of things I'd like to see or experience,
Yeah.
and get to witness or be a part of. I mean, for me, that'd probably be an easy answer. It's like being in Sunday school and getting asked a certain Bible question, and you always say Jesus,
Yeah.
and it's usually the answer, so you're
Yeah.
like safe.
So what would be the event?
I mean,
though?
for me, it would be, wow, could I go back to see something that happened in the time of Jesus, like the resurrection?
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna
that's-
say the crucifixion.
I don't know that I want to. I wouldn't really want to see, in general, a crucifixion.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's
horrific.
tough.
Being there, there was both an earthquake that was documented to happen when Jesus like gave up his spirit and died. So I would like to see and experience some of that, because even the guards there that were crucifying him were like, wow, he was the Son of God. So even more or less pagan officers or soldiers were like, they've been doing this. They've crucified hundreds of people at least. And now they're like,
Yeah.
whoa, something was different about this guy. So there would be something spiritually in the atmosphere that would have happened. So that, and then 3 days later, the resurrection, like for me, that would be really cool to see and experience. I believe in that. But to see that, if I had to pick one moment, say
Yeah, that's fair.
that's a foundational piece of history and of even my life. So I would want to see that.
I mean,
but
that's a good answer. That's like too easy. Of an
it
answer,
is. That's
you
what
know
I'm getting
I mean?
at. Like, I feel bad even saying that one because it's just too easy. So I would want to dig into another aspect of history. What's coming to your mind, Barclay?
I think it'd be cool to like just like the generation before us got to like witness like the first landing on the moon. Like that would have been like
Like
really
be on
cool.
the moon with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that or like it'd be
That's the
super cool to
explorer
be
in
like
you.
with the Wright brothers like in the
Yeah.
like their first flight.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like stuff like that as like
Some studio in Hollywood moon landing.
Yeah. Well, let's not get
I was
into
playing.
flat Earth conspiracy theories and
Oh,
everything
gosh.
else.
No, I'm just
I
messing.
believe in some conspiracy theories. I'm
You,
against.
you go
most of
back.
them.
You go back. You're like, yeah, I want to go witness this. You're like, wait, we're in Burbank right now. What's going on?
no, I think but definitely like stuff like that that has to do with like science and
space.
Yeah.
space.
Big into
Like
space.
Cool.
I like it. I'm not like Jody Avila is like super
nerd.
knowledgeable and like definitely
Astrology.
like big space nerd. I don't feel like I have as much knowledge as him. I don't have as much like
Yeah.
that's not where like my like focus is whenever I'm like researching and studying stuff. But it's just super cool and like my mom loves space and like
Yeah.
it's always been like super like passionate about it and so like I think that'd be really cool. And then I've always loved like Amelia Earhart was like always
Yes.
like a huge idol of mine.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that would be awesome.
No, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Bunch of
But
air
you need to
tells.
know that you need to answer this
I got
again.
one that's coming to me now is I want to know how the ancient pyramids were built.
Oh my god,
a good
yeah.
one.
There's so much theory around it. Did slaves build it? Was it human construction? Was there alien help? Was there supernatural assistance? How in the world was the perfect construction, the way that stones were cut so
Yeah.
precisely they could only be done now under like computer measurements and laser design? How did that happen? And then this gets me into theories of kind of ancient aliens or supernatural beings. Why are there pyramid structures on all continents in the world? Back then,
Here he goes.
there wasn't even there wasn't
he
even
goes.
the
What have I done?
to communicate across continents, much less travel. So things like that, that's what piques my interest because it seems like thousands and thousands of years ago, there was a much higher level of knowledge available.
Yeah.
And how was that information disseminated? Where did it come from? That stuff really excites me, gets me interested. I see a lot of elements in that in the Bible. I see it in other ancient documents, historical documents, findings. Like, how did those things get built?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can still touch it. Like the pyramids are still here.
Yeah.
I want to go inside of those things.
That's like a huge thing on my bucket list.
Yes.
Can you
But,
even
like,
go inside of them anymore?
Not,
I don't think you
not
can.
as a basic tourist. Like you'd have
Yeah.
to get some serious
Like a
insider
military.
access.
But
Yeah.
also like Egypt is like one of the most dangerous countries like
Is
in the
it?
world for women
Oh, yeah.
to travel to. There's like a lot of abductions and stuff like that. And so like although it's like somewhere I really want to go, I'd have to do like a ton of planning and like
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure it's like safe. But yeah, like
Yeah, I wanna
I'd
go.
love
We
to.
can
I'd
go
love
together.
to. Let's go together because
Yeah.
like I think there's certain tombs that you can tour. And like growing up, like I think my second grade birthday party was actually like an Egyptian themed, like ancient Egyptian themed birthday party. Like my mom made all the costumes and like we served like Egyptian food, and like I've actually always been like a huge
Egyptian fan.
yeah. So it's
no,
like
Egypt is tight.
yeah. Like I was like learning how to like read and write hieroglyphics in second grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a
really
lot of
into that.
ancient knowledge. Their culture fascinates me because I think they were supernaturally influenced.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for them to get certain traditions and superstitions, even if you go biblically, like a lot of us, at least in America, have some kind of Bible story foundation. We've heard about Moses bringing the Israelite slaves out of there, and the plagues that happened in Israel were attacks against their gods. And so they had different gods and deities and beings that they worshiped, that they got information from. This is all their claim. So what they say off of how they get to certain information and practices that they uphold, like where did that come from? And some people would say, hey, it's just weird, random things that they claim. Other people say they were influenced by divine beings.
Yeah.
So when you
forces.
say divine beings, are you saying aliens or like God or gods
Well,
from your perspective?
You have to take a...
Here we go.
It depends on the context of what you label things as.
Okay.
So if I'm using the Bible as a reference, there's a word in the Bible, Elohim.
Yeah.
And there's... Elohim is a Hebrew word, but it means two different things depending on like if it's capitalized, at least in our interpretation in English. If it's uppercase, it's talking about the one solo God of all creation. And if it's lowercase, it's just talking about all the spiritual beings that exist. So even in the beginning, the Bible talks about God said, hey, let us make man in our image. And so there's a spiritual council going on. And then God created angels, and fallen angels we would call demons. Now there's different references to what the angels in the angelic realm are. So there's different hierarchies and layers of these spiritual beings, and God, lowercase gods, being a spiritual being, not just being in what we may say, oh, someone worships an idol.
Yeah,
and that's
I
just a
always
physical
interpreted
statue.
like that verse where it says "let us" to be about the Trinity. Mm-hmm. So there's a whole other thought process that it's not about the Trinity, is what
Correct.
you're saying.
Correct.
Interesting.
There's a lot more going on there, at least in some of the interpretations I've taken and read. But I've gotten into that study much more deeply because it explains a lot more when you look at the Bible through a new context. And again, this can be sidetracked.
This guy's getting a little crazy.
Context is important.
It can derail the conversation, but
No, I mean,
it
I'm
makes it
here for
interesting. And so I can tie all these things together between the Tower of Babel and when all the languages and nations were split up, and how potentially God assigned spiritual deities to rule and govern over each nation. And that's why eventually, if those angels that were managing fell and rebelled in following Satan, which rebelled thousands of years before, or however it is in the spiritual realm, then as they did that, they took on each nation as their own, and they became the God, the supernatural deity of that nation. And now you have, if you look at most civilizations, ancient civilizations will say, they'll point to some supernatural being that was larger, that descended from the sky. You know, Mayan cultures have this, South American, Incan cultures have this, Australians.
So is this how you would say like mythology began
So
as well?
if you would,
Like
that's a
Nordic
good- that's a
mythology,
good thing.
Greek
So if you backed
mythology,
up
Roman
even more,
mythology.
Biblically speaking, again, we're just looking through the layer of ancient history through a Bible context, but I've seen enough of that to feel like I have a foundation to try to explain it. So in Genesis 6, the Bible says that the sons of God, the Elohim, like God's spiritual creations, descended. They were watchers over earth. They were assigned to like help earth's population for us expand and grow and multiply. And they descended and took on wives and created a spiritual offspring that was called the Nephilim. So it was a spiritual angelic father and an earthly mother. And so that created a hybrid, which is a demigod, which is where Nordic, at least in this lens, where Nordic mythology and Greek mythology came from. So it wasn't just things that we have fabricated in our imagination. Back at that time, those things existed, and they weren't always as good as the comics made it look. Like there was also a lot of evil that happened in that. So much so, and so twisted that eventually God said, hey, I've got to wipe this whole thing out. And that's where Noah's flood came about. Now there's a
Where's
lot
your
that
cup
could be packed into that. It's on the floor over here.
Sure. I was gonna pour you some more of this Kool-Aid.
Serve it up for me. Hey, if we're talking about interesting concepts. So in that lens of a lot of spiritual beings and influencing, here's to you, Kool-Aid.
This guy's drinking it.
Hey, at this point, we should all be conspiracy theorists. If you
I'm
pay
here
attention
for
to
it.
what's happening in the world and how and why.
No, I mean, I think it's super interesting. I think it's like I could like it's a possibility. I can see it being a thing, right?
Just closing on the
fun.
lens of how, if you look into even watching History Channel, Ancient Aliens. There's
Yeah.
one episode, I forget the crazy host announcer, but he points out how every ancient culture has in their hieroglyphics of sorts, they'll point to this kind of spiritual being that ascended or descended
Yeah.
to earth and had enlightened powers, became a god because it knew so much, was more of a giant in stature and had a lot of power.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? And why did all these different disconnected cultures get that? And then you can see the pyramids that are connected. So like something has to be connected to a spiritual realm or,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
a-
to play like not to play devil's advocate, but kind of like I mean, last time when we were talking about this, you said like, oh, humans like aren't that creative, and I was like, but they kind of are though. Humans are super creative, bro.
we are creative. I was saying it in the lens of for us to create something new. Like if we're gonna get on the weird spiritual topic, if you've watched a demonic horror movie,
Nope, don't watch those.
okay, I have personally seen and experienced demonic activity. I've talked to demons before.
Don't watch that kind of
So
stuff.
I
bro.
don't watch movies that are like it's one thing to have like a suspense movie where like there's this killer chasing someone, but those Exorcism of Emily Rose, those kind of movies,
Yeah.
I don't watch those. And I would say people aren't that creative in the sense that they're not coming up with some creative weird way to tell a scary story.
Yeah.
They're copying what has been seen and done already.
Maybe.
And I've seen those kind of things. So I don't want to get lost in that subject, but that's what gave me the realization that, hey, God's real, because I've seen this stuff. And you've been to South Africa, Barclay. You probably didn't experience that, but in some of my Africa trips, I've seen some really,
Gets a little crazy in Africa.
really crazy things. And we won't go down that rabbit hole. And you're welcome to rebuttal or play devil's advocate. I'm just
I'm
speaking
good.
through my lens of both the experience and then how do I interpret these things.
That's fair.
So we can save that for another conversation.
Well, I mean, if you want to add to it, go for it. I got nothing to add.
No, like I felt things like that felt like definitely like they were in like my spirit, and it was like just like kind of like negative like feelings or like a
Energy or-
really strong like negative vibe that felt almost like evil from people before. But I feel like that's only happened like twice ever in my life, and I think that can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's like it's kind of hard to pinpoint like what that means, if it's real, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot more happening like spiritually around us than we'll ever know.
Yeah, that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. I want to move on to this last topic.
Like, let's pivot off of that one, huh?
Yeah, this.
Y'all get me
I've
up
been
to-
listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire lately.
Okay.
A little bit of that Matt Carmona. Shout out Matt. Put me on some
Okay.
some groovy vibes. So I've been jamming some old school tunes. And I was like, man, this is pretty good. And then I was like playing it. My parents was like, hey, that's kind of nice. And I was like, oh, this is what you guys were jamming out to back in the day.
Is that how you got the name of this podcast?
What? Oh,
That's
no.
kinda nice.
The name of the podcast, yeah, like
Like kid slips that one in there like every episode. Yeah, that's kind of nice.
It was like a gamer term that me and like my buddies who play video games would say. But I was down a rabbit hole when I don't know if I've told the story yet. When I was thinking for a name for this podcast, like I was in deep, bro. I had some stupid ideas. I go back like in my journal and like I look at the list. Because Kind of Nice was like one of the first three I thought
Yeah.
of. And then I kept going for like weeks. I was in Mexico, I think. For like 2 weeks, I was thinking of a name. And I'm thinking like always needing wisdom, like A&W
Yeah.
acronyms, stupid stuff. Like
Yeah.
I look back
All
on
the-
it, it's so cringy. I'm
the
like,
corporate
oh.
motivational
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah, like stupid
You called
stuff.
me and you were like, hey, you like words.
I remember, yeah. I was like, you're into words.
That's
You're
a
into-
statement right there.
Yeah.
But she
And-
does like words. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, I like words. But it was just like so funny to get a call from you and you're like, you like words, right? Like, and then you come up with kind of nice. And I was like, those aren't the kind of words I thought you were looking for. But
Yeah, we were looking way too deep.
Yeah.
Like I had it. It was funny because it was like the 2 weeks I was just like burnt out on thinking of names. And then I'm like, I flip back and I'm at the first page and I look at like the third name. It's Kind of Nice. And I was like, it's kind of nice right there. Wait. And then I thought about it and I was like, that's the one. It's like perfect. I mean, like the mock-up art for it. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. It came together. If you'd given it to Barclay to do, she'd come up with something like very poetic.
It'd been a poem.
It'd have been beautiful.
Whole name. This would be like a paragraph. If you can't see him pointing at the sign. I haven't shouted out. I need to shout out the Patreon. I haven't done that in like past 2 episodes, I think.
Shout them out.
We're doing video podcast now, so if you're listening to this, guys, we also have a video content to this podcast. We got like 3 cameras. We got Rocky on the A10 Mini, switching the camera angles for us. If you want to see the full episodes, they're on the Patreon. You can check out the Patreon through the Instagram. It's in the bio, or you go to kindanice.com/ it's patreon.com/ kindanice. And actually, we just got a new Patreon today. Shout out Kevin. I think Kevin A. Hart. Was that the one? Yeah, shout out that guy. He's in the top tier Patreons. Him and what
up, Kevin?
I keep messing up. Nanoka. Shout out both of them. They are like top 2 patrons. If you guys want to check that out, that is patreon.com/ kindanice. And then we also have an Instagram. You can go follow us on at kindanice show. And we'll post clips. So you'll get to see kind of what the video looks like on there through the clips, which is pretty cool. But hopefully you guys have been enjoying the video content if you've been able to see it. The last thing I want to talk about today is actually I guess somebody who like listens to the podcast hit me up and was asking about this. So I'll talk about it for them. But it was kind of going into like the youth and like growing into like, because I think we have a lot of young listeners. I think a lot of them are like in high school. And I was thinking about like, man, it'd be so hard to be in high school. We talked about this before, but it'd be so hard to be in high school right now. Like so hard. Like I'm so happy I'm not in school. Even college, like the last semester of my college was during COVID and it sucked. I was like, this is the worst. So I couldn't imagine like, even being in like junior high or like high school, obviously, all these kids, like whether it's with Zoom and mask and all the stress and people freaking out. So yeah, I think a lot of kids are struggling. And
social media.
Yeah, for sure. That sucks too. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up because I had deleted Instagram for a good amount of bit and all like social media, and it was like really good for me. And I found myself like, because of the podcast and stuff, I reinstalled it and I've been like posting again. And I was like, dang it, like I'm back on this app and I don't want to be. So I like deleted it again and I'll like hop on it, post something and get off of it really quickly now. Because that's just a better way to live for me. Like if I could delete all the apps, I would. And I would just like live life like in the world versus like the internet, right?
Yeah.
But so it's not really a question, but it kind of, the topic is more or less like when you were a kid, like how did you grow into your confidence in the person that you are today? And then, yeah, that's pretty much, because I know a lot of kids are struggling with either, I don't know, like mental stuff or finding friends now. It's probably like super hard. And yeah.
Well, starting that off, I would say I'm probably the only one that's been through high school without social media, right? Because it was a thing for you. Facebook came out in about 2005.
Yeah.
So
you didn't even have MySpace, bro?
No, it's same thing.
You that old?
It was 2005 when MySpace and Facebook came out. I found out about MySpace after I graduated high school.
Wow.
So I got on a MySpace and a Facebook page when I was a month away from starting college.
How was that? Back in the old days?
It was weird.
You guys just throwing rocks and sticks at each other, playing cowboys and Indians?
So I had a regular phone, like one of those little punch the nut 3, you know.
Oh, flip phone?
No, not even a flip
Motorola?
phone. It was like the Motorola, like the brick
Oh,
phone.
the Nokia?
The Nokia brick
that's
phone.
just
Yes,
open
sir.
with buttons.
That's what I had.
Yeah.
I got it from my dad after I turned 16. Like I bought it from him.
Yeah.
And had that phone. So we were disconnected. The point I was going to make is I never had to go through a time in high school or junior high where I realized how unpopular I could be or how socially aware I could have been about different dynamics. Like I was already kind of a nerdy, small, not that popular, poor kid.
Look at this Chad now. He turned into this.
You were small?
You can be this now,
super
guys.
skinny.
Wow.
I was 120 pounds.
What?
Dang,
I was heavier than you in high school.
Yeah, big time.
What?
I was very skinny. I didn't have
Really?
I didn't have a lot
Glow up.
going for me back then. So I know that it was already hard enough socially just to fit in without conforming too much. And if I had social media as another indicator of like what everyone else is doing, what I'm missing out on, how I'm not that cool or popular, that would have weighed on me a lot. It would have been really tough. So I'm just thankful to have that lens of not having it. And it hasn't been until last year when I was on that show with Exatlon where I was removed from that whole environment.
Yeah.
And so there's healthy ways and there's unhealthy ways to be around it. But when I recently got that image of what it's like to be disconnected from all this, man, my mental health was so
nice,
much better.
Yeah.
My ability to connect with other people was so much deeper. My ability to hear from God was so much deeper. So, man, it is tough right now in this environment because whenever I get on social media, even though it doesn't dictate who I am, it's still weighs on me a bit. Like I like to be connected with people, but really connection happens in person.
No, absolutely. I agree.
And when you don't have that,
I feel like it's become a substitute, like for a lot of people. If you like read your friends' posts or like watch their stories or something, you kind of feel like you've had a connection with them and you know what's going on in their life. And so then like you don't need to call them and check up on them, or you don't feel the need, even though like social media is not real life. Like you're like, oh, they're doing good, you know, like, and or the same thing can go for you, like your friends. Maybe if you're not communicating as much, it's because like they're seeing what you post and they're feeling like they've had interaction and communication with you, even though it's not really true.
Yeah, it's a false communication. Mm-hmm. I think all of us would probably get that. I have people every once in a while that say, oh yeah, it's been great keeping up with you. Like I hadn't seen you or talked to you in 6 months.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, but I watch your stories.
Yeah.
Like I don't post that much, but B, that's not a real connection. Just like you're saying.
And the whole point of social media it was to like connect people who are like far away. I feel like in the beginning, like I had friends like across the country or in different countries, and that's a way that we socialize. But then it's also become a way that you're connecting with people close by, and it's removing that like human in-person aspect.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like, if it wasn't for like the comfort of like an iPhone and like how simple it was, like to message people and call people on FaceTime, like I'd just get a flip phone. Yeah, I mean, that'd be sick. A little Nokia, a little Motorola.
I've legit been thinking about that recently.
Yeah,
like doing it and having my smartphone that I use for more business reasons. And then going on sections of like for the next 3 days, I'm only gonna have my own flip phone.
It's just like, dude, texting. You remember like there's 3 letters per thing. You have to like click it 3 times, and then click the other one 3. Oh man. That's why Blackberries were so popular, because they had a full keyboard. You're like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
But no, I think that'd be a good, like, maybe just getting one of those phones, and then you could just swap SIM cards and then use that for like a week and then get back on your iPhone whenever you want.
Yeah.
So maybe we offer a potential solution, because I'm sure people listening have the same struggle and frustration, you know, and not everyone's mastered this, but a lot of it comes down to discipline and intentionality. Yeah. Like realizing, hey, this stuff it can be pretty bad from a mental health, especially when you get the false image of being connected with people when you're not actually connected with them. And I'm guilty of this because I'm traveling a lot. And I was thinking this morning, I'm like, man, I have not been really connected with my friend group, and I just feel isolated and lonely and frustrated. And I still have that false image or mindset of like, no, I'm connected to people, you know, and I'm listening to people online, and I'm seeing their stuff. So maybe a win for me and for others is also to recognize that and then start putting heavier boundaries on it. Like, hey, I'm going to limit my time here, or I'm going to delete the app and only go get it on my computer. Yeah. Or finding a way to do it. But the hard part for me is not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because I do well at times just going, I'm throwing it all away. Yeah. And then you do miss certain things that are good, or for us as, I guess, influencers. Feels weird to say that.
It does.
It's a good, like, obviously there's positives that come with it.
Yeah.
But it's like the negatives. If the negatives are outweighing the positives, and like the positives aren't worth it.
Yeah. Well, there's like ways that you can restrict like your screen time, like on your phone. You can set up like boundaries, and those are really good.
I would just like blast past those. I'd be like, nah.
I'm still noticing those pop up. Hey, you've been on Instagram 45 minutes, and I just hit okay and keep going.
I'd be like, yeah, that's cool, man. Worry about yourself. Like,
but I'm kind of inspired to turn those back on after this conversation, because also like I've read studies where it's like screen time and like a certain amount of screen time is associated with like higher levels of anxiety and depression. And it's like those issues are like so crippling for like not just our generation, but like I feel like most people these days, especially like combined with just like the state of our world right now. And it's like we need to do what we can to take care of ourselves. But going back to your question was about like coming into your own confidence and stuff. And when I was like thinking about that, like I really do think it was like through sports.
Finding like an outlet. Ninja, like that's a good point, because Ninja was like a big thing for me. Like once I started doing that, I was good at it. I was like, there was something that I held on to that was like, oh, I'm good at this, and like I'm proud of that, right? Yeah. It was like gymnastics.
Like it has its faults. Like there's like a lot of stuff going on. Like that's just like we need to work on like as a sport, and but just learning how to like dedicate myself and like put so much time into my goals and like then see results. Like I feel like that helped me with like all aspects of my life, and
That's good.
I think sports are super important.
An outlet, like even if I think everybody, like I don't think anybody should live like a sedentary lifestyle. Is that did I use that word correctly?
Correct.
Words.
You got it.
But like any lifestyle like that is like not good. Like we're meant to like do exercise, get your heart rate up, and do stuff. Like even if that's just going for a walk or jogging or like everybody has time in the day to do that. I mean, you have to make time for it. It has to be a priority because it's just you'll feel so much better. But I think for the most part, like exercising is a really good way to do it. But also like connecting with people is like finding your friend group. And sometimes I like. Because it's hard for me to envision this because I've been so blessed with like just amazing friends in my life, right? But like some people are like, I don't have friends. Like I legit just like live my life. I don't like have anybody, and that's like such a disconnect to me because I've always like had so many like good people around me. So how like, because some people are in relationships, but maybe they're super toxic and they're not great, and it's like not relationships they should be in, but they just stick to them because they don't have anything else. It's like, oh, if I cut these friends off, then I have no friends. So how do you like? Where would you go about? What would be some advice to like helping people try to find like a good friend group or good people?
I think like if I think about where most of my like best friends from, it's like centered around what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And so it's like became friends with you guys because of like ninjas. So like if you find like a club or like a class to enter, like I'm like super stoked on like and like getting into like a pottery class, like, and like, I like, that's something I'm like looking forward to. And like, I want to plan for some time and I'm like super, like, I just have like so many different hobbies, but it's like, I feel like someone who's struggling, like either like make friends or just like connect with people, like the best way to do that is like to center yourself into like what you're interested in, and then that's gonna like shine through in other people who are interested in the same things. You're gonna connect on that because like so many like of my friends that I've made through Ninja, like I never probably would have like gotten to know them if we weren't interested in the same thing. Like I've got friends that are like way older than me, and I've got friends that are like way younger than me. Like you and I, for instance, like when we met in the gym, I was like, who's this child, like, but then we became friends, like, and so I think like hobbies and interests like bring people together like more than anything else.
For sure.
So.
That's a good answer, and it's probably easier. It is easier and it's smarter to not look at eliminating everything in your life. Like if you have toxic relationships or if you have a poor habit of the way you eat or diet or the way that you don't exercise. Instead of just saying, hey, I've got to remove all the bad things, start looking at replacement. So adding in something good, adding in like what Barclay's talking about, finding a passion. You don't have to be good at it. One thing that Kid mentioned earlier was you were good at Ninja, or you are good, and so it gives you confidence. But there are things that we're all going to try that we may be interested in that we're not going to start off as being very good at.
Yeah, of course.
You have to give yourself kind of permission to grow in that, and also to not define yourself by how quote unquote good or bad you are. If you're enjoying something, I'd say find something that you would enjoy. You'll begin developing friendships over that shared passion. You're going to grow because you'll find someone that's kind of similar to where you are, and you can grow together. You can encourage each other. Then it becomes community. Then it starts replacing some of the old places where you have really toxic friendships or relationship, and you can grow in that area. Health, as far as getting exercise, we're made to do that. It brings up our mood. It increases the health of our body. All these things kind of go together, and that's what we're thankful for Ninja. I mean, it's brought us here, but we've all gotten to do things. We've done life together. We've competed together, but we've trained. We hang out. We have food. We come over to each other's houses. We have game night and play Chameleon.
Yeah, it's so much more than Ninja keeping us. Like Ninja brought us together, but it doesn't keep us together.
Ninja's like the last piece in our life now. Like all of us are talking about, do we want to compete again next year? We'll probably go for it. We're looking for some motivation, but we would do it for each other or for other friendships.
I mean, like, honestly, if everybody, like, if Ninja right now, all the people that, like, I, like, enjoyed competing with, like, weren't there anymore, I'm not sure I would do it. Like, that'd be, like, a big hit to, like, wanting to do it. But I think, like, getting into it, like, imagine if we were getting into it now. Like, I think it'd be so different.
It wouldn't really be possible for us to break in. I think we broke in at the right time. We're too far behind that curve. But I think a takeaway for us, one, do we want to challenge each other to do something on limiting our screen time? Like with social media, is there a way that we could say, hey, we can't look at this before, at least within 1 hour of waking up, we are not allowed, and we're committing to not looking at social
Yeah.
media.
That's
'Cause
hard, bro.
It is.
I tried to do
I'll
that.
do it. I'll do it.
Hard,
I'll
though.
commit to that, and I'm saying it for us, but also that's what we're going to challenge everyone listening.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Well,
wanna
no,
do
like
that
I
with
think
us?
the only way to do that functionally for me is to not touch my phone for the first time. Like, so like the
Okay,
nights
then that's
that
what it's
like
gotta be.
if I do it, like I'll leave my phone like in this office space,
Yeah.
like on the desk right there, and I'll go like in my room, and then I'll wake
Yeah.
up and like do my thing, and then like when I'm ready to like start working on stuff, I'll come in here and like pick up my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But if I like sleep in like the room with my phone, like that's the first thing I'm gonna pick up when I wake up.
Yeah. Have you guys ever looked at like the number, like your phone tracks the amount of times you pick your phone up during the day? Have y'all ever seen
I
that?
haven't seen that.
It is like scary and a big reality check. Like
Yeah.
it'll be like you've picked up your phone 10 times in the last 5 minutes, and I'm like, whoa. Like, whenever you realize like how strong that attachment is, like it really makes me want to like break it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm
Just
down
break
to
your
do
phone.
that.
So I want
Yeah,
us
break
to-
my phone.
I want us to walk away with that. So I'm committing to not looking at my phone. It's not my phone. I'm not going to look at social media
Yeah.
or respond to emails or anything else
Yeah.
within the first hour of me waking up. So it's going to give me some time for me, make some coffee. I like to play some worship music in the morning, sit down and read something.
Yeah.
Make
And
breakfast.
just make breakfast and enjoy, not have that instant
Yeah.
like trigger. Because usually it's like, oh, that's happening in the world. This
Yeah.
thing's going on. So that's my commitment to us. And then the
Yeah.
other part before you close us out on some comments is what can we do to get excited about Ninja for next season? And I'll lead it with I've got
Between
a
you and
thought.
God, man.
There's one thing that's getting me excited right now. Some of the friends I made on the show last year, they've always seen Ninja. They're from Mexico and from Puerto Rico. They've always seen Ninja and been super stoked. They're like, I would love to be a part of that. That would be so cool. Would you train me? And I've said yes. And actually, one of them got accepted last year.
Oh, nice.
'Cause
Nice.
I introed him, but he couldn't come and do it. But he's still excited to do it. So I am getting excited about him being excited.
Yeah,
I
like
can think
new
through the lens
people-
of
yeah,
like when you have
yeah.
kids and they get excited about something. And so because he's excited and he wants to come meet all of y'all, he's from Mexico and he's been on TV shows like The Challenge.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring him here to be able to train with us. And
Nice.
just kind of help him experience it.
Yeah.
That gets me excited to say, hey, I got a reason to start working on this again. I want him to have a cool experience. And
That's one of the easiest ways to like
Yeah.
build passion for something again is like taking like it not being about you anymore and it
Yeah.
being about somebody else. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, I feel like I'm only like super passionate about it if I feel ready. And so like getting ahead of the game and like actually getting serious about training is going to motivate me like down the road. It's just like hard to get started.
Yeah.
yeah.
But like this year, like I did not feel excited about it, did not feel passionate about it. I mean, there's like a lot of reasons why.
Yeah.
Just like really hard last couple of years. And then just like the combination of being like, for those of you who don't know, like I have like an autoimmune disease. And so like I've been like super sick. Kid got kind of like dealt with like the brunt of like me being super sick when we were in France together. And I was like a little bit of a jerk to him. Because he's a loud sleeper.
it's the French rubbing off on you.
We were roommates for a little bit and in France, and it was not a good time.
She pulls no punches. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm sure it wasn't a good time for him either.
I was
But
fine. Nothing about people. Like it was all good.
Kid
Just
slept
walked
good
out.
the whole time. It didn't bother him.
yeah. But I feel like, you know, this last season, like 2021 competing just caused me like a lot of anxiety, and then it like made my like illness a lot worse after I competed. And so then I was like, man, do I just like need to like not compete anymore? Is it like bad for my health and like
Yeah.
my mental health and all that? But now that I'm doing a lot better, like I'm on a new medication, I'm like not in pain every day anymore and stuff like that. Like I like want to give it another go, and I feel like this next season, like if I think like I'm kind of tentatively planning on competing, and it's like I think it's going to help me make a decision like long term whether like this is something I want to keep pursuing or not.
Yeah,
Like
so that
now that I'm feeling better, like, but I really need to take it seriously and like train.
yeah,
like
either do it
legitimately.
or don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
Yeah.
Kid's good about that.
You can miss your flight, bro. I thought your flight was like at
I'm
noon.
driving to
Oh.
Dallas.
Oh, you're driving. You're not gonna fly
Driving to
anymore.
Dallas. No,
Oh, so we
I
got
never
time.
was,
Though.
yeah.
Nice. Oh, you never. I thought you were. You told me you had a flight.
I might have misspoke, but no, I'm driving to Dallas to go speak this evening.
Word. Let me do the shout out of the week real quick. If you guys want to be the next shout out of the week, all you got to do is go to Apple Podcast, their application, leave a review, and make sure you write some things. If you leave a review without writing something, then I won't be able to see it. But so this comes from name is Meme Deb W. I don't think it's your real name, but shout out Meme Deb W.
Mimi.
The review says, so good. We have been a fan of Daniel's since he started Ninja. My grandson met Kid at the Ninja Camp in 2019, and since he's been a huge fan, we have matching sweatshirts. I love how they talk about different topics other than Ninja. It's like getting to know them better. I love Daniel's faith. Shout out to you for the review. Appreciate that.
Hey, thanks. I think it's Mimi. That's what I would go
Mimi?
with, especially if she said she has grandchildren.
That's a real boomer thing
It's
to
risky.
say, buddy. That's a real boomer thing to say.
Was
Colin-
it spelled like
But
meme?
she said
No,
she
it's
has
literally
gra-
meme. And he just said Mimi.
Well, then I could be off.
Remember, he was in high school. They didn't even have MySpace. That's not
That's a
his
good
fault.
point.
It is what it is.
I'm innocent. I'm hoping to just show some gratitude and love out there.
This guy said Mimi. Oh, man. I'm gonna
Shout
clip.
out to
This
the
is gonna be the
review,
clip
though.
for Instagram. It's gonna be Nate saying Mimi. But I mean, if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, I got time. But if not, I can wrap this up. Anything? You
think-
wanna end on some more
No.
crazy words about pyramids and aliens?
No. I mean, anyone out there listening can DM me if they want to have conversations about this stuff. Or maybe in the reviews, if y'all want to hear something about that, we can have a special episode if we want to dive
Yeah.
into that topic. But that's not really the point of
Is
it.
that like
like-
Scientology? What?
No, Scientology is a different religion. Let's not even go there.
Yeah, that's not.
They do believe in like these aliens and monsters and other things and how they influence us.
Yeah.
I'm like
But-
super fascinated. I'm super fascinated to like hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because they're just like they're super interesting, and I've
Yeah.
like heard little bits and pieces of some of these things like over the years. But some of this stuff like is quite new. The whole the pyramid stuff and like all of that. So it's like I just like want to have coffee and just like
Yeah. I
Just
enjoy
just listen.
I enjoy going into that. Now I have a lot of depth and foundation that's built up layers and layers, and I'm just like giving little
Yeah.
snippets here, but it's helped me form a certain right, a little sprinkle, a little world, not only a worldview, but then a filter of why things happen the way they happen. Because I'm sure all of us wrestle with like, man, why do things in this world happen, the good and the bad? Why
Yeah.
does evil exist? We would probably agree evil exists.
Yeah.
And how do you filter that? And for me, how do I still keep faith? Because it's easy to lose faith. And maybe are people better off without any kind of faith, belief in God, belief in something, a higher power? I tend to say no, at least from my experiences. I know
That's a
it's
tough question.
It is a tough question, right? And I know what's gotten me through a lot of hard situations. Now, I don't claim to have the hardest situations. You've been through extremely traumatic and hard things. So how do I apply a filter to the world that gives me hope, that gives me reason and rationale for the why things happen the way they do, why things have happened? So it is a separate conversation. I'd love to have some with you, but it's helped me a lot to understand and to see through a certain spiritual lens, because, and I say spiritual lens as in 100 years ago, we didn't know that x-rays existed. We couldn't see them with our natural eyes, but eventually we developed scientific technology to begin seeing that. And now there's, in our phones, we have all of these links and connections in the, we would say, in the scientific realm, we can analyze that. I would say, was that stuff spiritual before we could see it with a computer or with the x-ray analyzer?
Interesting.
So what's going on in the realm in the dimension that we just can't see yet? And I would call that the spiritual realm. So what's happening?
Amen.
What's happening in that realm, in that dimension?
Wait,
and how
this
is
is
it
supposed to be a
affecting
closing
us?
statement. What's going on right now?
So to close, let's close on.
What's happening?
That's a feeder for if anyone wants to go down that conversation. Maybe me and Barclay can have a conversation and record it
You
separately.
need to
throw it on
talk
YouTube.
to Jerry Derilio's new husband, Tyler.
Oh yeah,
That would be so interesting.
I would like to talk to him about
Yeah.
some of that. But let's close on something separate.
Kids like, come on.
Barclay was talking about whether or not she is going to get excited about Ninja
Yeah.
this year and do it. And shout out to Kid for being good about
shout out to
recognizing when he is not fully in and prepared. And he says, you know what? I'm sitting this one out. I'm not going to do that. I am not the best about that. Sometimes I'll still do it. I'll try to show up even though I'm not fully prepared, knowing the outcome's probably not going to be good.
I did that this year.
And so
Yeah.
I've done that before, and I respect and honor Kid in the way that he says, I'm either all in or I'm all out. I'm not going to be in between. You're not going to be wishy-washy. But I'm getting to that
But I
place
think
of,
it's okay to if you just have to know that's what you're doing, as long as because
Yeah.
if I'm just doing it for fun and I'm not training to win, I still think that's fine, just like to BS and do it and like whatever. But I just have to be realistic with myself and be like, that's what I'm doing. Like I'm not doing it to win.
Yeah, that's how
good.
it was like this year. Like I was like, I'm literally doing this just because like my mom would have wanted me to.
Yeah.
And like I want to be able to honor her. And like Ninja did like me a solid and like was really amazing and like helped me like put together a tribute for my mom.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And it's like, yeah, like there was like footage of me and her like I'd never seen before that was in it. And it's just like really special. And it's like I did horrible. Like I think I was on the course like
we all three did.
15, 20
we
seconds.
literally all did it, and it was like back to back to back. It was like Nate, Barclay, me. And
Inside knowledge, Barclay and I have ended every season in the same place, like the same
no way,
obstacle we've
really?
fallen.
Pretty much, yeah.
Every city we've always fallen, except for
since
That's crazy.
San
since
Antonio.
Oklahoma. Yeah, since San Antonio, we fell in the 8th.
So as soon as who went first? It was Barclay, right? As soon as you saw her fall, you were like, I don't remember.
I think I went first. Yeah, but
I tried to block it out, but it still happened.
he and I
never
have both fallen on like the 5th obstacle in city qualifiers the last like 4 years before this year, like the last in the 8th in city finals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing that's been different is like Vegas, like
correct. But in cities,
yeah,
we've done the same thing. And this year, happened.
We're
again.
synced.
Yeah.
So how about we hit a buzzer next time?
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we're just reshifting the way that we're gonna be excited about whatever we choose to do.
Yeah.
The next season. I know that the fans of this show here, know us through Ninja, and so y'all can give us your thoughts on how we continue to move forward. And I'm just redefining my expectation and saying if I'm going to go for this, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it because I get to bring other people in.
Yeah.
And we get to do something and train together and be consistent with.
Yeah.
That we get off of our phones and we do life together a bit more from game nights and some training times.
Yeah. I'll end with like I learned this this little phrase that like kind of helps me like with just like mentally with life. And it's like the 5 P's. It's like proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Ooh.
And I like try to teach my like kids that, just like teaching your kids that phrase for some reason is like really hard. They have a hard time wrapping their heads around it. But like as adults, like that one just like kind of helps me. And it's like I really like just want to enter into things in the future where I am properly prepared, because otherwise it can be a waste of time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it is, like you're saying, like if you're just doing it to like add for enjoyment out of life, like that's one thing.
Yeah.
But I enjoy things better whenever I excel.
Course.
So so yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that's been episode 24. What, am I missing something? Oh, check out Barclay. I know Nate's. Nate's is at no. I actually don't know. Yeah, go ahead and shout out your Instagrams.
You can follow me on social media at No Limits Nate.
And I'm on Instagram at Sparkly Ninja, and then like Twitter and Facebook is just Barclay Stockett. So.
And you guys can also follow the podcast at Kinda Nice Show on Instagram. And then if you want to check out the Patreon, that's where the full video of this podcast will be. It's looking pretty sick, actually. I'm looking at it, and I like the way it's turning out so far. But yeah, that'll be it for episode 24. I hope I didn't mess that up. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.
And shout out to Mimi
And
for
thank
writing in
you.
on the comments.
Thank you so much for having me, kid.
Yeah,
and
for
Nate.
sure. No, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. We'll do this more often. Goodbye.
Peace.
I'm kinda nice with the gear. Shout out my area code. I'm feeling nice with the drill. And I'm about to bury the flow. I'm about to make me a meal. Nothing gon' get in the way. You someone keeping it trill. I'm all about getting this pay.